I found my center point, and I've taken my knife and cut some of the knots off right there. So I know that's my center point. But now, what I've got to do is put a notch down below here. So what I'll do is I'm going to put it at an angle like this and just notch this in. That's going to hold the bowstring from slipping up when I put it on. Both sides. I'll turn it around so you can see that. Of course, you got to be very careful. I'm making sure that if I slip, it's not going to slide down and cut me. Very important, always, knife safety. So what I have is a notch on both sides like that. And that's going to help, like I said, when I put my string on. Now this other side actually has a knot right here, so I'll just tie to that right here and it won't be able to slip down over. Not going to make this fancy. I'm just going to throw a string on it and that's going to be good enough. The arrow is going to take most of the time. So I have my string here. I'm just going to pull this out. And it's going to have to be a little bit longer, of course, than your bow. I'm going to twist it up as well. So I've got the amount I want. I'll just cut it off and put the rest back in there. Put everything away. And what I'm going to do first is just tie one knot on the end. Now what I'm going to do is put a slip knot in this. So I put one knot in the end, and now I'm just going to poke this through and pull this tight. That makes a slip knot. And then I can put this right over top of here and pull this tight. Now I'm going to find which way I want my bow to run, and I'm going to go this way with it. And now that I have that actually taut here and tied, now I can just twist. I can just take my bowstring and twist this all up and just make it round. It don't really have to be done for strength, but we'll just twist it up so we'll make it round. Now that I've got that twisted, what I can do is I'm going to just put my thumb here, hold that while I go all the way around and put this in underneath, like this, there. Now what that allows is I can set my brace height and pull this at the same time and then put a couple half hitches in it to secure it. Brace height is perfect. So this here is your brace height from here to here, and usually this is what they do to check your brace height. Now I'm going to pull this very slowly and listen to see if I'm going to be able to get my draw. Oh yeah, it's not strong. I can feel right here it's creasing pretty bad. But that's the wood. It don't matter. Cool. Let's get to the arrow. So this here is your tip. What I'm going to have to do is just kind of thin this out a little bit. Cut this off right flat right here. And then kind of taper this down some. Something like that. Then I can split this here to accept the arrowhead. Now I've taken the knots off of this, also cut that flush and rounded the corners so it won't split when the shock from the bow is behind it. Now I'm not going to split that until I get down on the ground. Safety first. So that is now split. And here's that disc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it. Just drop that arrow for now. And just bend it a couple times. Snap that off. Now, this here is actually, you can use as a saw as well. Somewhat. So what I'm going to do is snap another one off. Like that. That's going to be my arrowhead. So there it is there. I'll take the arrowhead and be dropping it down in like that, and then tying that on. That's why you have to taper these edges, and I'll taper them a little bit more just so it will get better penetration. But that's looking pretty cool. You can also use this here as a saw somewhat for putting your notch in and so on, as you see. Way there you have less chance of actually splitting it than if you're using your knife. It's working pretty well. And that's just because it has just the connection points of that and the basically roughness of that edge. It does work pretty well. So here's that string, and you can split this to different sizes, and I only want one strand of this. So I'm going to try to split this down just a little bit further and use that for wrapping. There we go. That one strand. Now, normally you would glue this in, but I'm just going to stick it in here like this and just tie it on. And of course you want to wrap down below. And before I do that, now this is only for demonstration, so I'm not going to bother to feather these out anymore. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave a tail on this one though. I'm going to make a knot, then a slip knot. That tail just gives me something that I can tie to later to finish off my wrap. Now this here is also called the Canadian jam knot. It's funny, I've never knew it as that, but I've used it all my life as a slip knot. Now I'm going to put the knot on here down below where I want to tie and tighten that up. Now that's going to prevent it from slipping. There we go. You can see it's a lot tighter now. I'll put that in the center. Now you can take and sharpen these. Take a stone, rub them on a stone or such to help with attaching these and to sharpen them. I've got that on there. It's not real secure. I could go a lot more. Like I said, normally what they would do whenever you fasten on any point, you would glue it, usually with spruce resin or pine resin and such. So I'm just going to tie this off and call it good enough. So this is the fletching material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 3 inches off of this. I'll fold it over, and that tells me exactly how long my other one has to be. I'm going to cut that off right there. And then just trim it up. Now this here will give me 2. There we go. Now what we have to do is kind of go in on an angle like this and just kind of take it and score it out like that. Now what you can do if you want to is fold it right over on this line here and follow that same cut you did before, like that. So when you open it up, it's very similar. I'll do the same thing here. I think I'll cut these both at once, and then they'll both be exactly the same. There we go. That's one fletching. Got to do the same thing with the other. So I've got another slip knot. What I'm going to do is bring this down below, and I'm going to want to put one fletching on this side and one on the other, and I want to hold those there. And also watch where my arrowhead is. Okay, I'll do it like this. Bring this up. Actually, you know what? This is a little tricky this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my knife and I'm going to flatten that out a little bit, because trying to hold that is a pain. So if I put this little flat on both sides, it may be easier to tie this on. But I want to start on the low side. So what I'll do is I'll put this one on first and just wrap that on there nice and tight there, and then put my other one on the other side, and I can just wrap that over top of it like this. As you see, I'm also going a little, you could do this better if you had more time and so on. I'm just kind of demonstrating it. This here is just your fast, will work type of arrow. Okay, now all I got to do is tie the top side. And I'll put them like this, put my slip knot over it, and pull it tight. Get them in position where I want them. Of course. Well, that just don't look too bad. Now I'll just wrap these around. We're almost ready to fire this. Like I said, this is bare bones, there we go. I'm going to trim these off and we should be ready. Now that arrowhead is not real secure, so it would still be very effective with killing game the way it is, but your arrowhead may stay in the animal, you know. So that is your arrow. Let's pick a target and try it out. There's a stump over here. Not sure I'll be able to hit it, but that's what we're going to shoot at. I'm going to shoot at that stump right there. This arrow is not straight. I probably won't hit it, but normally I wouldn't be just throwing it together like this. Let's see what it does. Well, it flew nice. Take another shot. Give her another try. Now, I'm not going to be able to hit much with it, but I'll show you where it landed. So with this kit, I have shown how you can make a bow and an arrow, a few arrows with this kit. Of course, this bow was a failure. You can see right here, right in the middle, it's just bending there. I mean, but that's the wood, it's not the kit. Also, this here stuck right in the ground, didn't move, and the fletching, it flew pretty straight. Of course, my arrow is something to be desired. It's not straight. So I wanted to bring this to you. I think it's very cool, and I'm carrying it because you never know, it may come in handy. So thanks for watching and take care.